Hi everyone, my name is Sade. Welcome to my channel. I am doing the newbie book tag as one, or sorry, the newbie booktube tag as one does. Okay. First question is, why did you start the channel? I didn't want my massive laptop to be here, so every once in a while I'm gonna look to the side to see the next questions. I don't have any notes, so this is all gonna be off the dome. But yeah, why did I start this channel? I have been watching YouTube since, the olden days of Jenna Marbles and Shane Dawson and all those other people, David Dobrik, Liza Koshy, the whole nine. Some of those are different eras, I think. But, I've been watching YouTube for some time now. And to me, YouTube stacks up against television, reading, any other media in terms of how much I consume it, and I really enjoy it. And for a long time, I've had creative ideas or things that I've wanted to do. So in no time like the present, tired of putting off things. And I think part of it was just nerves of I don't know how to edit. I don't know how to do all these cool things that people do. And then the other element was I was nervous. If anything was to get traction and I got hate comments or whatever, could I be able to handle it? Those kinds of caveats and hangups that people have. So I had those hangups, and it held me back for a while. But I'm here, and I'm so excited that I pushed past it because even though I have a tiny amount of subscribers, I'm just having fun. It's genuinely such a creative and enjoyable pursuit. Sorry, I was pausing because my family's supposed to be coming over soon, so I was like, "Is that them?" Because my apartment is near the entrance of the building, so I can hear whenever people come into the building. But it's just my neighbor. What are some fun and unique things you can bring to YouTube? So for me, I'm trying to think. I feel like I have a unique taste in books. Obviously, I read some of the standard stuff, thrillers, romances, the whole nine. But I also really enjoy poetry, and I really enjoy also to read books about environmentalism because that's I got my degree in environmental science. So I think that's a little bit more unique and a little bit different, especially for a person of color. There was very few women in my specific program at the school that I went to, much less women of color. So I feel I can bring my interest in science, health, and environment to my channel. This is not necessarily fun, but this is unique. I definitely want to also do a few videos about grief, just give some light to that, especially for young people. I feel when you're the only person who has lost a parent or something like that, sometimes you feel very alone. So I want to create content that makes people feel less alone. So yeah, not necessarily a unique motive, but I think everyone has their own unique perspective that I want to bring. Some other stuff, I have some projects in mind that I'm very excited about, but I kind of want to keep that under wraps. So you'll see, but I think my channel is going to be really fun and creative if I don't say so myself. What are you most excited for about your channel? I'm just excited to learn. I think even learning how to edit, even doing my research on what mics are good, figuring out angles, figuring out shorts, figuring out TikTok, figuring out all these things and trying to figure out the algorithm and all of that. I'm excited personally to learn YouTube. And then I'm also excited just to show more of my personality and get more creative with the video topics and types of videos that I'm going to do. But I don't want to say too much because I don't want to just start naming ideas that I don't end up doing because they get scrapped for some reason or say an idea and then someone gets to it first kind of thing. I want to I just want it to evolve how it evolves, but I'm very excited. Why do I love reading? Okay. This is not groundbreaking. I feel everyone freaking says the same stuff. It's escapism, it's a new world, but I think I just like learning about the human condition, and I feel like I do get a lot. Like I watch reality TV with a critical eye. I watch scripted TV. I read books, fiction, nonfiction, memoir, etc. I use it all as information about people, about the world. It confirms or denies, opens my mind to just different perspectives and different things that I know to be true in my life. So I like to challenge my beliefs. I like to open my mind. And I think like we can't all experience every type of life. We can't all like go to every country, know every type of individual. So like books allow you to like open your mind without actually having to like buy a plane ticket or have that conversation with someone who might intimidate you, or just get to know more intimate things about a different type of person's life that you wouldn't necessarily feel comfortable to just go up to them and ask them. Like, but you can read a book. You can read 20 books, 30 books. Also, it's art. I feel like I'm also drawn to just like consuming it, and I feel like it helps me understand people. Like when I read books, it's not just about the book that I'm reading. I'm like, why did the author choose this or that? I wonder what the editing process was like. Like I'm just like all back here. But anyway, it's entertainment at the end of the day. But it's entertainment that I feel like I learn from most consistently versus any other type of content or any other type of media. So yeah, it's great. And I think if we're being honest, like it's one of the hobbies or one of the forms of entertainment that's like looked at as the best. Like when people see you watching a lot of TV, like certain people might judge that, but they won't judge you in the same way for reading a lot. I know people have like takes of like whether audiobooks are valid, or sometimes people are like, I only read nonfiction or I only read romance, but like, you know, obviously there's that element, but like I feel like I read very diversely. So I feel like it's always been a hobby that was encouraged versus like any other hobby. Like universally, I would say. Very encouraged hobby. So, you know, there's that. The next question is, what book series got you into reading? Crazy enough, in my last video that I just filmed, I like organically started talking about it. But the first series that really got me into reading, I was gonna say Twilight, but that's not true. That was the first series that got me into like reading voraciously and like being that person who like, I can't put this book down, I need to finish it, like staying up under the covers, flashlight type vibes when it comes to reading. That's where that energy came from. I would say Twilight. Watch the other video if you want to hear me talk about that more. But the first series that I feel like I really got into was the Beacon Street Girls, which was a series about 5 friends. They were all different. They had their like different interests. They looked different. They were all like, I think almost all of them were different racial backgrounds as well. Not all of them. There was like, but yeah, it was, everyone had their unique thing and experiences. And it was all about like friendship, self-love, confidence, growing up. They were all like middle school age, I would say. And I was around that same age when I was reading that series. And there were like 17 books in that series. Like it was a pretty long series. If anyone has any kids, I would highly recommend that series. I actually did recommend it to one of my, I was going to say coworkers, but like he was my boss for like a little bit of time. But yeah, one of my coworkers, we'll call him. He has, his daughter was 8 at the time, I believe. And so I did recommend those books and they actually read them together. Like this was during COVID. So he was looking for, you know, more media for them to consume because they had just finished Harry Potter, I believe. He was like reading to them, reading to her, reading them to her around her bedtime. And so I recommended the Beacon Street Girls, not thinking too much of it, just because I thought it was a great series. And he actually read them with his daughter and he was like, thank you so much. Like they're fantastic. And so like, I'm so glad that it clicked for someone else as well. But yeah, I would say like it started for me reading, whether it's fiction or nonfiction, the idea of like reading and being able to learn and being able to apply it to your life. So that was really cool. If you have any kids, I would highly recommend that series. What would I ask my favorite booktubers? I have no idea. It's funny because like I'm definitely that person that's like, don't meet your heroes. Like I feel like even if I admire you from afar, it's like I don't have any questions. Like I don't know, just thank you for doing your thing. You know what I mean? So if I were to talk to my favorite booktubers, I'd be like, thank you so much. I love your content and you inspire me. I don't know that I would have a ton of questions, just because even if you're asking people like, how do you do it? How did you get big? Like, no one can replicate for you your journey. But I guess I would just ask them for a book recommendation or a series of books that I should read. Yeah, I think that's what I would do. I'd ask for like personalized book recommendations. What challenges will be the hardest with BookTube? I don't know. I would say motivation and consistency. But we'll see. You know, there is a world in which there aren't many challenges, and I just really love this, and I do this and for fun. Yeah. Next question is, where do you read? I am assuming this means like, okay, I guess I read everywhere. Like I read on the train, like on my commute. I love to go to a cafe and read, but I feel like I rarely get to do that. But yeah, I would say I read in transit. I know some people get like car sick or whatever. If they read in like a moving vehicle, that doesn't necessarily bother me. I also read in bed. I would say when I'm home, I most often read in bed, but I, have like a few reading spots. Sometimes I sit on the couch, whatever. Really anywhere. Sometimes I read like on the treadmill. I have a little like mini stepper. Sometimes I read on the mini stepper. Like I just read whenever, wherever I can, like in the line places. Like, when you're like waiting online, you're like, this is taking forever. Like I could do something with this time. Like literally anywhere. I think I mentioned this in my last video. I lost one of my books at the grocery store. But that's beside the point. Anyway. And then I guess if we're talking about like what formats do I read every format. I do Audible audiobooks. I use the library. I have a Kindle, which I got as a graduation present from my uncle. Shout out to you, Uncle David. You'll probably never see this, but if you do, that Kindle you got me for my college graduation, I still use it. Yeah, I read physically still. Like I read in every single format. I read in every single place. But I would say like most commonly in bed, because I typically read either in the morning when I've just woken up, if it's a weekend, or if I have time in the morning, or I read in the evening times before I go to bed, which is most commonly when I read. So I would say like that's most common, but I do up a little cafe, I do up a little in transit reading as well. The last question is, what kind of books do I read? I read everything. Nonfiction, memoirs, poetry, thrillers, romance, fantasy, paranormal, like literally everything. I just read my first historical fiction last month. That's the one genre that I don't feel particularly drawn to. If you want to know more about that, watch my Lioness of Morocco review, and you'll hear me touch upon that. But yeah, I would say like most commonly I read thrillers, fantasies, sci-fi, and paranormal romance. I would say those are my most like read genres, and then like just various nonfiction it's like a topic that I'm interested in, and then memoirs. I guess I'm talking about my most popular, and then I just listed almost every genre again. Like I wanna like put together some reading stats and like actually see not only for this year but also for all time, like all the books that I actually have logged in my Goodreads. So that's almost every single book I've ever read. Not quite all of them, because there's some from when I was like 9 and 10 that I just have no memory of, and like I wasn't on Goodreads yet. So Goodreads might not have even existed yet. Who knows? But yeah, I want to see how my tastes have changed over time, because I do think they have changed. Like I used to never read nonfiction because I used to find it so boring, and that's changed. So I want to see trends over time, and I want to see actually what my most popular genres are, because I do feel like I read a lot of different genres, but I'm not like positive what my highest genre is, and I think like it might just be a perception thing. So I'm interested to see my stats. I don't know if you can like import your Goodreads stat or info into Storygraph, because I think Storygraph does by genre, where you can like pull out stats by genre. So we'll see. I've never used Storygraph before, but I know the girlies are using that now. But I also have my own spreadsheet where I started logging my new reads with like information and stats that I'm interested in seeing by end of the year. So I'm excited to see those stats, but I don't necessarily want to have to like input past reads on there. So if there's like something like Storygraph where I can have that information like collated for me, we'll see. But yeah, and I think that's one of the things that's more unique about me is like I don't necessarily have a niche. Like I read everything, pretty much everything, with the exception of historical fiction. So like that's gonna be fun for my channel. But yeah, that's it. I've been wanting to do this tag. Like I've had this tag in mind for ages, but I actually like I feel like I watched newbie book tags, but I never finished them. So I actually was not clear on what all the questions were, and I didn't prep at all. So hopefully this actually was coherent and enjoyable to watch. But I am excited to be on this channel and hopefully to like get to know you all as well. It's not just for me to like yap into the void. I would like for people to like watch this and like for us to like have combos in the comments and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, in the comment section, based on every single thing that you've heard me say in this video, drop me a book recommendation. Thank you for your time. Lovely meeting you all. Catch you on the flip side.